On this episode of Beer, Blues, and BS, the local geek joins Kidder and I for a great discussion. Is it a great discussion, though? I don't know. It's a lot of Howard trying to suggest things and a lot of non-reactions. But that's okay. He's got a challenge for us for episode 150, which is fastly approaching. Besides that, I'm going to talk about a controversy that just came out today. It's fresh. It's hot off the presses. We're also going to introduce a brand new segment that's going to lead us out from here through for quite a while. So, boy, for as much as I made it sound like it's not a great episode, this is actually a really great episode and a lot of fun. And, the lucky thing for you is you're in a good place. Welcome to the show.
It's Howard Blues and V. Mark Kidder. Pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, enjoy time with friends.
The Triple B! Well, the Triple B sucks. Okay?
Oh, come on.
Whatever, man. This is Beer, Blues, and BS. Online at beerbluesbs.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that recently received a cease and desist letter and is no longer allowed to talk about the continuing adventures of the world's greatest adventurer, Paco LaFleur. It was fun while it lasted. I'm your host, the living embodiment of Charlie Brown, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
Were you going to say that you were Charlie Brown?
You know what? I might have, and that would have been such a living embodiment of Charlie Brown to say. I recently pointed that out to my boss, that I am the living embodiment of Charlie Brown, and that if the worst thing that could always happen is what's going to happen to me. And I literally brought her some bad news, and she said, "Why? Why is it always your sites?" And I'm like, because, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's right. You're Charlie Brown. I get it." So it's catching on, man. It's catching on.
It shouldn't, though.
I can't help it, man. It's a lifelong thing. It's a label. I'm stuck with it. Which, hey, Kidder. Speaking of being stuck with, in probably not the best transition I could come up with, but hey, we have another guest who got stuck doing Royal Rumble predictions and is now on the show. That's right, everybody. It is the official Triple B Brewmaster. The local geek is here. How you doing tonight?
Hey guys, doing pretty good tonight. I think AI helped me make some pretty solid predictions, so we'll see how it turns out.
I'm really looking forward to losing to AI in this.
You agreed with the AI in most of the cases, so.
Yeah,
we're all losing to AI, let's be honest here.
Yeah. And for anybody who's wondering, like, what are you talking about? Go back, like a month ago to when we did the Royal Rumble and join us and all of that fun goodness. But hey, Kidder, want some breaking news?
Yeah.
Kidder, it is my pleasure to get to inform you first, before you send it to me in Messenger, that my favorite hockey player when I was at UND, Zach Parisi, is now a member of our Colorado Avalanche. Yeah.
There's your ASMR moment right off the top.
Yeah, and that is such a great bit of news. I'm glad that we get to see Mr. Parisi in an Avalanche uniform. That's good. I never thought it would happen, and I think we should drink to that. That's right. I'm moving us right along, gentlemen, to everybody's favorite segment of the show. What's on tap? And while I usually go with the guest first, Kidder, you may have started kind of pre-gaming a bit and hoping to drink during the Royal Rumble predictions. What are you having, good sir? What'd you open?
I did. We got a classic Coca-Cola, original taste. Halfway done. Thirsty. Need caffeine.
Yeah. All right. Good to hear. Local Geek, what are you having tonight?
Well, Kidder says he needs caffeine. I am having a coffee beer, so I am also getting a dose of caffeine that I probably don't need. Hopefully the 6% alcohol will counteract the effects. I am having a cold press black from Bent Paddle Brewing out of Duluth, Minnesota. It says a local infusion of flavor, Bent Paddle Black combined with Duluth Coffee Company's cold press coffee. Smoother than campfire coffee without the mess of the grounds. That's about all they got on here. Lake Superior is managed through a bi-national agreement, much like our partnership between local crafters. And I'm going to pour that into the old It's Been a Week glass because that's the one I grabbed from upstairs. This week hasn't been particularly bad. Last week was a little rough, but
I disagree, but I'll share that story in a little bit.
This one's got some nice head on it and a very nice dark color. And it does definitely have some coffee notes to the odor. I'm going to let that head settle down before I drink it, though.
Mm. All right. We'll wait for that report on the taste in a little bit. Gentlemen, I'm going to the Oscar Blues Brewery for my drink. And that is, I have the original Dale's American Pale Ale. When Dale started hand canning his hopped up mother of a pale ale at Oscar Blues Brewery, the beer industry laughed. Then they cracked open a can, the original craft beer in a can. Dale's Pale Ale revolutionized the American craft beer world, and today it's still stomping on the status quo and fueling adventures. It is 6.5% alcohol by volume. I can't remember if anybody's had this on the show, but
I don't believe so. I've got the spreadsheet open. Let me look. Nope, nobody has had it.
Nice scent of hops.
Oh, wait. Kidder had it on episode 85. Sorry.
Glad to bring you this classic rerun. That's not bad. It's hoppy, but not too bitter. It's still probably too hoppy for Kidder.
That was more or less his review. He said, yeah, it's hoppy. I'm not going to like this one. Nope, not a fan.
Well, I'm going to enjoy this and have a good evening. And I need a good beer because, gentlemen, it's been a week.
I thought you were just going to say that you're a communist for enjoying that kind of garbage.
This is clearly an American pale ale, Kidder. America.
Is it though?
America.
Because I think it's like an invasion force in disguise.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I had quite the week, including a really fun Wednesday where we were woken by Junior, who had vomited in his bed. Followed that by getting out to my car and at work, grabbing my backpack out of the back and realizing that the bottle of body armor that I had in it had leaked out. And I mean, I don't have one down here. They're big bottles, you know. And like there was just like a little bit left. So it had soaked like the back floor mat of my Matrix. It had gone down into the tire well. So I had to clean all of that up. Yeah. And that was all before like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
So
what time was the vomiting?
Of course, at like 5:30 in the morning.
That's better than like 2.
It is better than 2, but you know, it's at that time where like by the time you get him cleaned up and then like back in bed, your alarm goes off and it's like at least at 2, you might get a little bit more sleep. But,
True.
So yeah, that was way to start a day. So, but yeah, it has been a week, but I'm glad to be sitting down, chatting with you guys. And hey, I started us off with some hockey news. Jenner, anything else to share in the world of hockey? Because I know you do a much better job of keeping up with our teams than I do.
Well, Fighting Sioux are at home tonight. In fact, Mr. Wonderful, no, not Paul Orndorff. However, Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary was at the Ralph Engelstad Arena tonight, presented with a UND hockey jersey, and did the ceremonial puck drop before the game. Tonight's opponent is the Denver Pioneers, visiting from Denver, Colorado, home of your Colorado Avalanche, the most superior NHL team on the planet. And at I'm just going to call it final, because at 19 minutes 32 seconds in the third period, I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Denver Pioneers 2, your University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux 5. Also happening, Howard giving the classic round of applause. Very good. Glad that joke hasn't gotten old over the past, 80 years.
Right up there with your joke about Mandan.
Hey, you know what? If only Bismarck had what Mandan always will, and Bismarck never can, and that's a beautiful city across the river. Thank you very much. All right. Also in Denver, Colorado, just before the beginning of the third period, and maybe I'll be giving some score updates tonight, the Los Angeles Kings traveled into the Mile High City. They, after 2 periods, have 1 goal. Your Colorado Avalanche 4. And as mentioned, there it is. There's the round. It's like golf, at least the way that we play. Also, 2 nights ago, Wednesday night, Nathan McMahon scoring his 8th career hat trick out of the 3 of the 4 first goals of the game.
Nice.
And went on to beat the Washington Capitals and Alexander Ovechkin 7-2.
Nice. Seems like our abs are picking up steam, which is good.
A little bit. We got some good play happening. Good back and forth. We're fighting for the puck. We're not falling asleep so much. I love it. Love it. Like to see that. Also, Cale Makar, who had one of those 4 goals in the first period. Cale Makar, now the highest goal scorer as a defenseman in Avalanche franchise history, which of course includes the Quebec Nordiques, passing Tyson Barrie for that. Nathan MacKinnon's also set a I guess you could say a record, because he beat and passed Joe Sakic for a franchise record of the longest point streak at home, with 19 games, I believe it is, straight at home, getting a point in some form.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, of course, Zach Parise making his way to the Mile High City, being saved from the nasty New York Islanders. And there's a goal. Cale Makar! Number 5 on the power play!
Nice. This is
also leading the NHL in defensemen in goals by 15.
I mean, he's a phenomenal player. I just gonna say it. He's phenomenal.
And he's like, what, 23, 22?
I mean, the guy went right from, the NCAA tournament to stepping foot on the ice like the next day in his first game, and he scored a goal. I mean, the guy's got some talent. Yeah, you just couldn't say that. So I'm glad he's on our team. So, Kidder, I actually was at a hockey game tonight. I'm back to being an off-ice official. I was a goal judge tonight for a girls' hockey game. It was the West Fargo United versus our Bismarck Century Patriots. And I got to say, best high school hockey game I've seen this season. It was a really tight game. First period went 0-0, so no scores. We start up the second period. Century immediately goes ahead by 2. And it's like, okay, this is going. At the end of the second period, West Fargo comes back, scores 2. So we're going into the third period tied 2-2. You'll have West Fargo score first coming out of the into the third period, and man, they were gunning. I mean, I think they racked up 8 shots on goal in the first 3 minutes of the third period. They were just peppering them in there. Bismarck Century would eventually tie it back up with a shorty. So, yeah. I mean, really intense. We're going to get down to the last, 2 minutes. West Fargo will score their 4th goal. And you know what? Century makes a really strong effort, has some chances right at the end. Last, 2 minutes are basically played on West Fargo's half of the ice. But we can't get it done, and West Fargo will take the lead, or take the win, the victory, 4-3. But an excellent hockey game. It was intense. And Kidder, you'll get a kick. I have a couple of interesting little side stories. One, I of course had to send you the text at the end of during the kind of the period break. I was up in my chair and I was just kind of scrolling on my phone, and all of a sudden I realized what song was playing over the arena speakers. And it was not what you would normally play at a hockey game. I would not consider it hockey music. But it was the theme song for, of course, our good buddy Brother Smalls. It was Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. I had to look around to see if Smalls was in the building. But the other one, Kidder, and you'll get an appreciation for this. On the first goal that was scored, I was late to flip on the light. And I was partially late to flip on the light because as I went to flip on the light, there's a Century Patriot mom who was right below my chair. And as the puck got shot, because it was kind of heading in this mom's general direction, she let out this blood-curdling scream. Scared the living hell out of me. So I jumped. Missed turning on the light. It was this was
classic.
It was funny. Yeah. I mean, it was luckily nobody in the box gave me any grief about flinching, because they always like to give the goal judges grief every time the puck gets shot off the glass and the goal judge flinches, and it's nobody really saw it, but I'm wasn't because of the puck. It was literally this growl scream. I also almost got hit by a puck tonight, Kidder. They actually had one that went up over the safety net, off the wall, and hit my goal judge chair. So there you go. Exciting night of hockey.
Gunning for you.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me. So, yeah. But hey, a whole lot of hockey news. A lot of good news. Some fun stories. And after the game, I happened to just swing through Taco Bell to grab food. And Guys, I want to ask, do you ever have this problem with fast food where, like, maybe it's it's a place you go all the time, you tend to order the same thing, but it's never consistent, like what you get? Because that always amazes me, like I always end up like at Taco Bell. I will always get 3 bean burritos because sometimes they are like full and overflowing with beans, and then sometimes like the ones I got tonight, they're like flat, with just like mostly cheese and sauce and just like the thinnest smear of beans in there. I'm just curious if you guys ever experienced that.
Typically, it is T-Bell that does that for me.
Local
Can't say
geek.
it happens too often to me. Usually it's the amount of sauce on like a burger.
And I've never worked fast food, but it always seems like it's so assembly line that you would think that you would kind of get like a rhythm and you could get things very similar, or that it was fairly regimented between all the locations. Hey, you do this, you give, like this much sauce. But it's always different, it seems. Wow, I was hoping for more conversation. Let's see. Howard's going to have to stop putting things on the run sheet because, like, I put things like to garner conversation, and then it's always like, nah, we're not going to.
I do have some food related, or restaurant related topic I can add with that.
Please
You guys-
save this segment.
Did you guys hear the news that the local I Heart Mac and Cheese is removing itself from the franchise and going to rebrand itself? And they're talking about eventually putting in a hood so they can do like burgers and wings and stuff like that on top of some of the mac and cheese things that they'll continue doing.
I had not heard this. Interesting. Kidder, your thoughts?
Well, I had heard that news, and kind of concerning. The location isn't that good, so that part I get. However, I feel that maybe, just maybe, there's hope, and we'll be able to get it done, make things happen. Maybe they rebrand, maybe they get some more options, maybe they bring more people in. I personally have not had a bad meal from My Heart Mac and Cheese. I like their selections. I think their sandwiches taste good because it's like a grilled cheese, but with macaroni in it. I like that. It's been a while since I've been there, so I understand why. But
I think you're in
I
the
have to
same boat
say-
as me. It's kind of a drive to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be up there, gotta be in a reason. Now, Howard, he's just got a hop, skip, and a jump.
I mean, it's a bit further than that. I mean, Old 10 is closer, and I haven't been there yet.
Well, that's up. Yeah, that's up the street, basically. I mean, you could almost see it. You could throw a beer at it, basically.
Yeah, I could go there and get an old fashioned with a cherry in it.
And then I would send you straight to hell. Okay, just for that, I'm inserting myself. This thing. Shell's Fire Brick Vienna style lager. I'm having alcohol. Yes. That's right. What?
Just the fact that like he just kept going and that it was, anyway.
Yeah, because you say that garbage and I need a drink because of it. You're the reason I have PTSD, Howard. It's things like that. You talk about cherries. How dare you?
Sure, it's not Big D.
No, he tried that the other day too, and then I sent him quite the smattering of memes.
I'll just give you a little tease, Kidder. My final thought for tonight involves Big D. Rest of you will have
we
to
can
just wait till
say
the end of the
anything
show.
on this, and it can be edited. So, this is a Shell's Brewery product, 4.8% alcohol by volume. There's a story in every drop. Fire Brick came on in a flurry of snow, that is. Initially released as the Winter Snowstorm beer in 1998, they couldn't stand the thought of it being so unique they only brewed it once. But what do you call a beer born in snow that no longer lives in the snow? Well, it just so happens they're removing the old coal-fired boiler. As they dismantled all the old fire bricks, they thought of many years they spent shoveling coal to keep them warm in the winter and brewing great Shell's beer year-round. They couldn't think of a better way to pay homage to the story than calling the flagship craft beer Fire Brick. Water soluble.
Can I offer you some blackened?
Some blackened? No, that's brown. It's you can't have blackened brown. Then it's like off brown.
Anyway, sorry. I just happened to pick up a paint color and it was blackened and thought of you.
That's over here. Right there. This is a Vienna style lager, once again, guided by tradition, 12 fluid ounces, again, 4.8% alcohol by volume. August Shell Brewing Company. They're located in New Ulm, Minnesota. And shout out to the wifey because she actually picked up a 6-pack so that I could have beer. So these are all her picks for me. I told her if she picked IPA, I'd be sending her to hell with Howard.
Is that a new segment we got going?
Well, maybe Howard is in hell. I don't know.
And we both chose Minnesota beers tonight, Kidder.
Sounds like an odd coincidence.
I think Dale's is Colorado.
What did the Illuminati do to you? All right.
I'm waiting to hear how this beer tastes.
Oh, that's good. General smell off the top is much like a regular light beer. Kind of like a grain belt, I would sense and say. The overall color is a light amber. So kind of like a light roast. A little dryness right off top of the palate. And then there's the aftertaste, kind of like you get when you drink a Coors Light. But it's kind of like a Coors Light that tastes better with a little bit more flavor. Not my favorite beer, but also not the worst. So a solid 3.382.
All right. Nice. Nice. Glad that did you have a tasty beverage? Kidder, how would you like to hear about a stupid law?
Do I have to?
Oh, yes, because I put it on the run sheet, damn it. So we're doing it. I will say, we usually try to stay out of the whole politics realm on things. But I heard this, Kidder, and I read this article, and I'm like, I have to share this. So here is the headline. This is from the U.S. Sun. The headline reads, "Keep moving. Winter driving law could see offenders hit with $18,000 fine for cars parked in own driveways."
Yeah, that's your problem. You're reading things out of there.
So the basics of it is it has to do with New York state traffic law. So thankfully we're not in New York. But in New York, it is apparently against the law to exit a vehicle without turning off the engine, locking the ignition, and taking the key out of the ignition, according to Section 1210 of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. Law enforcement said this law is to prevent car theft, as leaving the car running with keys inside makes it open to being taken. So, if the driver uses a remote control starter to warm up the car, then no violation has been made. So, but
also,
what
it used to be a law in North Dakota until about 2019.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a highly enforced law? Because
not really, no.
Just gonna say, I see a lot of cars that, you know, people leave them like when they just run into the gas station or into the grocery store. They just leave their car running. So I was just kind of curious what the enforcement level was on something like that. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up because it was interesting. And because, like, here in North Dakota, it's a pretty common thing for people to leave their car running to warm up. So, yeah. Anyway, local geek.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't leave your car running, or
Yeah. Don't leave your car running without the keys in it. Like, what are you, some kind of masochist? Do you want your car to get stolen? That's how cars get stolen.
you know, I don't think that people really think about, you know, Grand Theft Auto around here. Then again, I don't know how common Grand Theft Auto is in North Dakota.
Auto theft usually goes up in the winter.
Hey, local geek, you have some sort of challenge thing that you wanted to chat about.
A challenge. Oh, yes. I updated the spreadsheet.
What is this you say? Oh,
I
yeah,
made
whatever.
an update on the drink tracking spreadsheet. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. I made it earlier this week or last week, maybe. But I added a count of the episode that has the most drinks drank on it, which would be episode 100, which had 20 drinks.
Those are
So I figured with 150 coming up, can shoot for trying to beat that number.
Figured with Rude Boy Kyle on the show, we'd blow that number out of the water. I love you, Kyle. I helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and JS helps a lot with our drinking numbers. We were chatting, Kidder, before you hopped into the meeting, because apparently at the time of us recording this, last week I crossed the 200 drink mark. And
That's about time.
The interesting thing is I'm about 45 drinks behind you. But the combined total of all of our guests is quickly catching up to me. And I think that has to do a lot with the fact that we have JS. So, yeah.
So looking at the spreadsheet, Big D actually is second place behind me for the most drinks had on the show. He's had 33 and JS has had 30.
True, but then here's the comparative, okay? How many shows more has Big D done than JS?
Only 4.
Oh, that's surprising. That's surprising. I would have thought Big D had been on quite a few more, but
And he has been only on 5 less than me. And I don't know if we want to talk about my numbers.
I was gonna say
I've had 59 drinks.
that's that's not bad, not bad. So, but Kidder is definitely the front runner on the drinking game. So,
Yes, Kidder's had 247.
yeah. The Triple B drinking champ.
I mean, I should. I've been on the. I don't know about the most shows, but I've been on almost all of them.
You have easily been on the most.
I think there's only 1 he hasn't been on, isn't there?
2. There are 2. Because we did a show where it was Lefty and I.
That's the one I remembered.
But I could have sworn there was another one that was out there where he was gone, and I think it might have been Big D, but
That does sound familiar.
so I think that there's only been 2 episodes without Kidder. Whereas I took a hiatus when Little Miss was born for a while. So, and I've had a few where I've been too sick to participate. So I mean, let's face it, Kidder is the Iron Man of the Triple B, holding it down. Good job, Kidder.
Thanks.
To pull
Cheers.
thing out of your book, I was gonna say, here's a trophy.
Pulling that one out, just dust it off a little bit.
Yep. And I'm gonna hate myself in about 4 weeks when I realize I have to now animate that. Damn. Anyway. So, but 20 drinks consumed on episode 150. I guess it all depends on who joins us. That will be the question. So,
I'm planning to be here.
Okay.
Hey, guest one.
Yeah.
Hey, I just remembered for hockey, maybe why this deal actually happened. But you know who's the new head coach of the Islanders?
Be Patrick Waugh.
Yeah. Interesting set of circumstances, don't you think?
Well, I don't, because if I'm not mistaken, Parisi, it wasn't a trade. He was just re-signed. I don't think he was actually playing here recently, but I could be wrong on that.
I didn't read the article. I haven't had time.
Yeah, if I recall, I believe that it said that he was signed, and I think they just used a picture of him in the Islanders because that was kind of the last known photo of him in a hockey jersey. But, that's something for us to fact check later. At a future time. At a future place. Future date. To be determined. Wow. Well, gents, we might have a shorter show than we were intending or planning, but I'd say because we've now completed topic 5, and we are not even an hour in. So we either need to slow.
Avalanche is still playing.
That's good. That's good. So, gents, I got some controversy I can share with you.
There we go. That's what we need.
Controversy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it involves a company that I've been talking about a lot lately. which I think is just kind of making this more sad. The big news today came out that Mythic Games, you might recall if you've been watching some of the more recent episodes, they did their whole really terrible Krampus promotion over kind of Christmas. Well, today they released a pair of emails updates on two of their Kickstarters, Anastair and Hell, the Last Saga. Anastair was the last Kickstarter they did. Hell is one that has been out for a very long time and is now several years late. But they put out an email saying, guys, we've looked at what it would take for us to actually produce these games. We can't do it without asking you for more money. And instead of doing that, we have sold the IP to somebody else. And people kind of wondered, there was some kind of concern about who might have picked up these particular IPs. And it was later revealed today, the same day, that Simon is picking them up. So Cool Mini or not, the makers of games such as Zombicide, Marvel United, and many others, is purchased both of these IPs. And they have guaranteed, and this is the part that is upsetting a lot of people, that anybody who backed those Kickstarter campaigns will get a free copy of the base game of whatever they produce on those IP. Well, that sounds okay. That's a pretty sweet thing. This means that for some people who maybe went with like the all-in pledge on Anastair, that comes at a price tag of like $700, you're getting a base game that'll probably be maybe like $90 to $100 for the grand total price of $700.
Yikes.
Yeah. Jens, I will let you know, I did not go all in on Anastair, but I did on Hell. So Howard is getting fleeced. So there you go. Let's see. It's that whole living embodiment of Charlie Brown coming around. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to provide content, Kidder. I'm trying.
I'm just disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
In me or at Mythic? That would be
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, on Facebook, people are screaming at Mythic pretty hard, and people are. It's interesting to see the range of emotions because you have some people who are very upset. Like, I paid $700. All I'm getting you is a base game copy of this, and other people are like, "Well, at least you're getting something." Could be nothing.
Yep.
I've been stiff
remember
on
the time that
Kickstarter.
I remember the time that I talked about how I ended up buying a replica uniform, along with others who spent tens of thousands of dollars on replica uniforms and have received nothing, and you can't even sue the company because they changed names and don't exist.
Yeah. It's rough when that happens. I'm still interested because Mythic still has Monster Apocalypse, the board game, out there. So I'm hoping they're going to finish that one. I'm hoping. They are getting closer to releasing Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will be out, and I'll get that. Along these same lines, in a interesting, I thought I had gotten taken for a ride elsewhere. There's another.
Where'd you go?
Well, place of myth and legend. There's a board game I backed many, many years ago. One of the first ones. It was called Myth. I actually backed a couple of expansions for it. Myth Journeyman was the Kickstarter. And in there, you could basically get the original game and all of this stuff from the first Kickstarter. And I went whole hog into it. I loved the art style of it. I thought it'd be great. And the company went under. And I'm like, well, there goes that. They got bought by somebody else. And now after several years of that company holding the license, gentlemen, they are finally shipping out. They decided and figured out a way to finish the production on the game and send it out. So I will be getting all my stuff for Myth, which I had written off almost 10 years ago now.
Wow, nice.
So sometimes things work out, man. Sometimes you just had to wait 10 years.
Yeah, I had one Kickstarter that stiffed me that all of the backers were trying to kind of organize together to actually put it out after the creator came out and said, yeah, this is never going to happen. I ran out of money. And one of the artists that did the art for the game said, hey, if you guys can pull that together, I will donate any art that I wasn't paid for because I still own the rights to that. But it never came to fruition.
That's
Bum-ba-dum.
that is always kind of a sad thing when those sorts of things happen, because you know, and at least like with all of these ones where I have gone in, like it has just been due to like poor management and not necessarily that they were scams. There was one, Sans Tour was the company, and they were going to bring back a range of figures called Rackham. Gorgeous figures. Unfortunately, like the original owners of Rackham went out of business about the time I got into painting miniatures, because I would have loved to. I own 2 Rackham figures, and they're gorgeous. One of these days I need to paint them because they really are gorgeous. I've been trying to level up my skills to get to that point. I'm probably there now. But anyway, this other company, after Rackham went out, supposedly got the rights to it. They did this massive Kickstarter. And again, it was like $700 was what you had to pledge, and it got you everything. And that was a French company. They actually got taken to court over it as being a scam. So it's nice to see when justice happens to people on things like Kickstarter. But I will say I have dropped way back on the number of things that I'm willing to back on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I've done any. The last one I did was the dim sum game that I talked about on here probably a year-ish ago, maybe even a year and a half ago.
Yeah. There's only really 2 projects I know of coming up that I'm kind of interested in. Mythic Games is doing an epic scale version of their sci-fi war game, Warpath. I don't know if I'm 100% into that. I kind of want to see what the pledge levels are and what you can get. That's all like 10 millimeter figure. And the only reason I'm at all interested is I actually have a bunch of 10 millimeter terrain. So the Avs have won. Kidder was counting down for the audio listeners who are wondering why all of a sudden the pause. Kidder was counting down on the screen. It took me a little bit to figure out what he was counting down. I thought he was going to break away for like a cut in, and I'm like, oh, Avs.
Breaking news, everyone. Welcome to Beer Blues and BS, the station and the podcast that really can't get anything right. I'm your co-host, Mark Kidder, the man, the myth, the legend. Thanks for being here. Howard Blues, over to you.
So we were talking about Kickstarters that I was looking into. So I said Epic Warpath by Mythic. Although it's really hard for me to want to get in on that because, as I announced at the last or on the last episode, Mantic is going to be releasing in September of 2024 Halo on the tabletop.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And I'm really excited for that because the opportunity to paint up like the Covenant.
And Master Chef.
Yes. Just for you, Kidder, I'm now going to make that conversion. Master Chef. It's Master Chief with the chef hat. Swedish chef mustache.
Heard about the Covenant.
Yeah. Yeah, Local Geek. And hey, for anybody who, if you didn't catch last week, but yeah, it's the second time that Halo has gone to the tabletop. Third, if you count Halo clicks. But there was a company, Spartan Games, that did a war game version of Halo. But again, it was a 10 millimeter small scale. Mantic, it sounds like it's going to be 28 millimeter hero scale, which is normally what I kind of like to paint. So I'm excited, Kidder, about that one because, and they're not kickstarting that. They're just bringing that one out. But like painting the Covenant, I think that's going to be cool. Painting Spartans, I think will be cool, especially because I want to paint a couple of them in like my color scheme from when we played Halo Reach, your color scheme. If I can remember Rude Boy's color scheme, I will also maybe do one of him. Just because that would be cool, to be able to have, Spartans that represent us from when we played on the tabletop. It's just kind of cool. So excited about that. But the other Kickstarter that I'm waiting for or am really excited about is from Privateer Press. They have been doing their D&D 5e compatible rules set for their universe. And the next one that they announced is the Strange Light Workshop, which is kind of this really cool concept of, think of it a little bit of a cross between like Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters and like 1940s detective. So the guys who deal with like the paranormal, the occult, the weird stuff, but in kind of a business like fashion, like Ghostbusters. That just sounds awesome. So I will probably be all in on that one, but no further details of when that's coming out. It's just in the future.
I've been backing the project along with Nico and Rude Boy. The Outbreak game. It's a storm chasing game. That's been in development for about 5 years now. Still waiting on that as it's still being developed. But we at least get regular updates and what they're working on. I mean, in all fairness, Flashing Lights is still a development game. SWAT Van's going to be coming out pretty quick. So you will either be SWAT or you're not.
I just want like the old like 1940s paddy wagon.
I mean, they have the paddy wagon, but it's current day, not the old timey.
Yeah, no, I want the old timey one, and then one person can go and pull people over, and then the other person brings up the paddy wagon, and it's like a mobile arrest center. Huh?
Well, I mean, we have the van, and let's be honest here. The Crown Victoria is basically just like going back in time, like what you're thinking. So
yeah, but if that's a van, nobody looks cool in a van.
Howard would drive the van because you want the paddy wagon,
right? But that's a paddy wagon. It's not a.
He
van.
said right. He said right. Well, it's a paddy wagon. It's a mobile paddy wagon van. Fight me. I'll stick you in the trunk.
No, I'm not going to fight you. You have had combat training, and I have not. So I refuse.
Okay. Okay. So he's refusing.
Besides, I'm not much of a fighter. I mean, you know that. I've only nearly been in a fight twice in my life.
Yeah, he just drives you off a cliff instead.
No, that's just Halo.
I mean, Halo, tomato, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've told the story of the one. The one was at the comedy club where I had consumed most of a pitcher of beer, and then bumped
What
into.
What are you talking about? You only had like 2 glasses.
Yeah, 2 magically constantly refilling glasses.
Don't even know what you're talking about.
Bumped into a guy. Luckily, brother Nico was there. That saved us from that one. Totally a brother Nico save. And the other one, I was ready to actually fight. And I think I've told this story too. My family had a pet dog that got ran over by some neighbors who lived down the highway from us. And the one kid felt the need to shoot his mouth off about it the next day on the bus. And so later on the drive home, because our frontage road at that time that I lived off of, went along the interstate, he happened to see a car out driving on the interstate. He's like, "Hey, it's my cousins. It's my cousins." And I got off, I went to get off the bus, said, goodbye to the bus driver, because it's always good to be nice to the bus driver. And as I was about to hop off, I yelled to the kid. I said, "Hey, have fun with your inbred cousins." And he, of course, lost his cool, came charging up, and would have, I hopped off the bus, threw down my bag. I was ready. I was ready for him to jump off, and it was going to be on. And bus driver shut the door right in his face. So it's just, it was just like he's about to barrel down the stairs, just bam. And next day when I got on the bus driver goes, "Hey, so and so has been kicked off for the rest of the year. You're good." So, but that's the only time I've ever picked a fight. So, otherwise, I'm not much of a fighter. Not much of a fighter. But we're coming up on the hour mark, and I got to get to my second beer, so I better do a little bit more drinking.
Yeah, you can grab that. And I just wanted to mention, Nathan McKinnon is 4th in career point streaks of 13 or more games in NHL history.
Impressive.
And everybody who's ever played the game in NHL, he's at number 4 for 13 plus game point streaks.
Well, on the back of that, I think it's time to go to everybody's second favorite segment of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is What's on Tap, round 2. Drink! And the local geek disappeared into the evening. Hate when he does that. Kidder, we know that you're still on your Vienna style beer.
What?
Oh. Guess this is round 3 for Kidder. Local geek, you just ran up and grabbed something. What'd you grab?
I just grabbed some mini DNA.
Good call. Good call.
I'm running a little low in the old beer fridge, so.
I see. Well, I have beer for you. I also have beer for Kidder.
I also have beer for you.
Oh, the beer exchange must happen. So, all right. Kidder, are you having a second drink? I'm being kind here. Just. Well, while Kidder figures out that, I'm going to drink something that Kidder would absolutely not want to drink. Also, from the Oscar Blues Brewery, I have their Tropic Mutant Experimental IPA. Yeah. Fun little logo down on the bottom there. Kind of like a Wendigo inside the IPA. This is their Series 4. It is an India Pale Ale with natural flavors, 7% alcohol by volume. Tropical Mutant Experimental IPA, Unpredictable Evolution has produced another freaky mutation. Tropic Mutant Experimental Juicy IPA uses cutting-edge science of suds that will transport your taste buds to a lush and mystical paradise. So, guys, this is Howard Blues' last episode of the Triple B.
Hasta luego.
Very hoppy. Off the smell. Huh. That is not as hoppy as the Dale's Pale Ale. But that, I've had a lot of them that are supposed to be like juicy IPAs. This is the first one that kind of tastes it. It's got a really nice juicy aftertaste to it. Nice. I like this. I didn't give the Dales a rating. I'd probably give it like a 3.5, and I would maybe give this like a 3.8. I think is what I would go with.
I don't think I ever rated the bent paddle one either. It was really quite on the bitter side. I'm not a big coffee fan to begin with. I like sweeter coffees if I do have it. So I'm thinking like a 2.5 on that one.
Still not bad. Not a bad rating. No.
Yeah, it's middle of the road. I would drink it again.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good. Mm-hmm. Well, gents, have you been watching anything interesting? Has anything been making it onto your screens? Have you started a new show? Returned to an old show? Watching through Star Trek for your 800th time?
I'd love to. I just have not had a lot of time. I will say, watch the Expendables 4. Finally.
How was that?
A bit. What I expected it to be. An action movie that needs to be an action movie, made to be an action movie with all the cheesiness of an action movie. And lots of explosions and things and Jason Statham. So I didn't mind it.
Nice. Good to hear. Local Geek, you been watching anything? Anything crossing the old screen?
No, not really. Not a lot of new stuff going on in my world. Lots of kids shows. And I have been watching this podcast I found called Beer, Blues, and BS. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of them. They're all right.
Definitely no rum, rock, and rumors, but
Kidder, I got my haircut today, and
all of them or just one?
Just the one, the one problem one. And the hairstylist was, overly chatty. But we were talking about my job, and I said I travel a lot. And she goes, "Oh, well, what do you do to, keep yourself awake while driving?" I'm like, "Well, I listen to podcasts and music." What kind of podcast do you listen to?
Man, it's good that you asked because there's this awesome one. I just found it. It's been going for almost 3 years.
It's probably what I should have said, but I didn't. I'm a terrible salesman of our own podcast. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, it's kind of like other people who are on this show on a regular basis and don't even share it.
I'll share it.
It was, and also it was because I think part of it was by the time we got to that part of the conversation, she was having like the hardest time hearing. I swear she must have had hearing loss.
Huh?
So she'd ask me a question every time and be like, What was that? What was that? I felt like I was shouting everything. And so I didn't really feel like shouting to the entire hair salon about beer, blues, and BS. I just couldn't do it. But back to what we were watching, Kidder. The wife and I have like been binge watching Reacher, the second season, and it's good. It's different. Some of the things that were really charming and that I really enjoyed about the first season is kind of missing from the second season, but it is far more it's more action movie than mystery. It also does one of those things that I a lot of times hate in like mystery shows and TV where it will reveal the bad guy like right away. Like who the bad guy is almost pretty early in like episode 1. But the thing is then, so it's like, who the bad guy is, but you don't know what he's doing. And it's kind of, you're watching the good guys try to figure out what the bad guy is up to. And so it just takes a little bit of the fun out of it in some cases, but it's very good. If you like action, there's a ton of it. There's only been one, because if you recall, my one like real critique of like the first season was that there was at least one fight scene where they had Reacher getting hit by a crowbar and like blocking like this and not reacting to getting smacked in the arms with a crowbar. They have one scene like that so far this season, but otherwise the action's actually really pretty believable. So it's good. If you haven't checked out Reacher, if you like mysteries, if you like action, I highly recommend it. It's very good. Very good. So we are through the first 5 episodes of all 8. So it's an 8-episode season. So highly recommend it, Kidder. I think you would enjoy Reacher a lot.
It's on the list.
Good. I'm looking forward to you watching it so we can talk about it.
Wrestling news. Kabuki Warriors are now WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Who are the Kabuki Warriors?
Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Huh? Okay. That's right. They were a tag team that was called the Kabuki Warriors, weren't they?
Yep.
Wow.
Also, University of Nebraska Omaha beat St. Cloud State 7-6.
Wow. Good hockey.
Barn burner in St. Cloud.
That would be a barn burner. I mean, I like high scoring games, but I like them when they're close. So that game must have had a lot of emotion behind it. That would have been an awesome game to watch. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, we're down to the last topic.
Do you want to talk about how Vince McMahon apparently had a threesome and pooped on a girl's head?
Not really.
I got a laugh out of the local geek, so I'll take that as a win.
Listen, Kidder, what you do in your own time.
No. This wasn't me. Listen, there's no 2 girls in a cup, okay? I think that's a different podcast.
I mean, if you want to talk about it, Kidder, I
know because I haven't actually looked into it. I just heard pieces and I haven't read the documents. And that sounds like I need to, I don't know, get like a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, antacids, and maybe bleach for my eyes.
What I can basically touch on, because I did do some reading on it, not all of it. I didn't get into. Apparently, you can get some of the text messages. It centers around a Mrs. Grant. She's not actually a wrestler. She worked in their legal department, and she talks about a couple of encounters between herself and Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. Being forced into some of that stuff. She is claiming that Vince McMahon trafficked her besides the sexual assault, and that he even offered her out to one Brock Lesnar when trying to get Brock to return to the WWE. Supposedly, she had signed an NDA for the price tag of $3 million and has only been paid the first $1 million, and then the payment stopped. And so now she feels like that is a breach of the contract of the NDA, and therefore she is going to court to basically remove the NDA so that she can reveal all of this. But she has shared some of the texts, some of the stories, like the one that you alluded to. I haven't looked into all of that. I was just kind of very curious about who the person was and what the implications were on like the whole Brock Lesnar situation with that. So that's that situation in a nutshell, but it just sounds bleh.
Maybe a nutshell may not be the best word to use there.
It's late, I'm tired, I've been drinking.
R. Kelly?
Yeah. So that's that scandal, and yeah, it's just kind of gross. Apparently, when this became known and made public to Linda is when the NDA was signed. It's also when Stephanie and Shane both said, "We gone," and left WWE. So that's all of that. We'll see what this does for, WWE now that's part of TKO.
As of 3 hours ago, Vince McMahon has resigned from everything and is no longer part of the company.
Okay. Well,
Also,
makes sense.
They may be suing Stephanie McMahon because she was named in pieces of this as being part of the investigative group who did nothing to actually release this information.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's a messy situation, which is kind of why I didn't want to talk about it. But we're talking about it.
Well, we can be done with it. Local Geek. Is it you who has a new segment for us?
Nope.
No? It's Howard?
It's Howard.
I
What'd
could
you
come
do
up
now?
with something for you, but
No, I have a new segment that we will be debuting here on the Triple B with this episode and on every episode going forward. You see, Kidder, because somebody felt the need to gift me something for Christmas, I finally got it down here to the cave, and I'm going to make a segment out of it. Somebody, probably somebody who didn't watch this show, decided that they needed to gift me this book of dad jokes, of terribly awesome dad jokes. I don't know why, because anybody who's seen this show knows that that's kind of just my humor as is. And so, Kidder, I introduced the newest segment of the Triple B, Dad Jokes of the Week. So, every week, I'm going to share with you some dad jokes that you can then take forward into your own life and come off as a comedic dad genius. Kidder's like, great. Local Geek's like, awesome. I have new jokes to tell.
I have some jokes to add in.
Oh, that's great. And hey, if you're out there listening to this and you want to share a dad joke, throw it in the comments. Or, hey, I have this email address that nobody ever uses, howard@beerbluesbs.com. Yeah, okay. See, that's how often I use it. Hey, if you have a great dad joke, send it there. I will read it on the show as part of Dad Jokes of the Week. And, hey, shout you out for it. Look, this is what we call audience participation. It unfortunately does not come with a participation trophy.
We mean one of these?
Yeah. Anyway, and hey, kudos to you if you can guess the answer to these. But here we go, guys. Our first inaugural segment. I tried to organize a professional hide-and-seek tournament, but it was a complete failure. Because good players are hard to find. Kidder, I think as part of this segment, you need to rate these as we give them. So,
well, can't find a rating on that. Numbers are lost.
No decimals on that one.
My daughter thinks I don't give her enough privacy. At least that's what it said in her diary.
That's just a breach of privacy and creepy.
What did Beethoven become after he died? A decomposer.
That's a very grounded joke.
And my last dad joke of the week. Good romance starts with good friendship. A bad romance starts with rah, rah, ah, ah, ah. I'm not going to do it. It's a Lady Gaga joke. Ugh.
So I was talking to one of my British friends the other day. And we got to talking about elevators. And he goes, well, over here we call it a lift. So I said to him, well, I guess we were just raised differently.
That's better than the Lady Gaga joke.
Yeah, we had to go out on a better note than that.
We did.
Do you know what a baby computer calls
your telephone?
No, I saw it the other day and I remembered it.
That's a Lady Gaga song.
Oh.
You afraid of the paparazzi coming in?
I get it, local.
To the show.
I get it, Local Geek, that you didn't catch that was Lady Gaga joke because of Kidder's stellar poker face as he told it.
That and I don't listen to Lady Gaga.
That's okay. I've done my one with poker face. I'm out.
Both of you are just monsters.
This is now where Kidder will crush us with his extensive knowledge of the discography of Lady Gaga.
Do you know what a baby computer calls its father? Data.
Very nice. Howard drank to that.
Yeah. See, I always try and solve the joke before, you get the answer. Sometimes I can do it, and sometimes I can't.
Is that because you're like a crocodile's cousin who likes to read things like an investigator?
No. It's more of I just like the puzzle of it, Although when you do get it, then unfortunately, you're ruining the joke. Sometimes. Especially if it's a kid trying to tell you the joke.
Well, hey, good news that there's somewhat of an opening on SmackDown because Kevin Patrick is out of here. No more Irish Dublin talk on commentary. Which I think I may have sent that meme to you. The only perfect replacement that we want is that guy, and that guy is Mauro Ranallo. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back though.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, he has called UFC before. He has done boxing. But the reason I bring up the UFC is now that WWE is tied into the UFC, and now that Vince McMahon is gone, there's a chance, Kidder. There is a chance.
Hey, man, that's all we can hope. There's a chance.
Yep. So, well, I've exhausted all of my topics. Kidder, are you out? Are you done? Have we hit everything that you had or wanted to share tonight?
Sure.
Yeah. Local Geek? Anything?
No, I think we got everything I had.
Well, this might be a short show, but that's okay. Future Howard will appreciate the quick edit that he'll be able to do on that. And so, hey, for all of you out there, we're giving you part of your time back. You know what you could do to use it better? Go check out another episode of the Triple B. And on that,
100%.
once every 10 episode cheap plug by Howard, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while. Let's wrap this thing up with some other cheap plugs.
All right. Real quick, beerbluesbs.com, our website right here in the screen and in the show notes, beerbluesbs.com. Please smash that sub button. Please hit the likes. Please hit the share. We would appreciate it, and sharing is caring. Also, subscribe to the show. Help us for as little as $1 a month. Help the starving and thirsty podcast hosts keep the show going at streamlabs.com/beerbluesbs. Again, streamlabs.com/beerbluesbs. Also in the show notes. Like us on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us, share it, click the thumbs up. We love for you to be part of the show, and all the info available anytime on demand. Video versions on YouTube. You watch these shows and see the train wreck happen in front of your face, or just take us on the road with you. Listen to them on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, IMDb, Player FM, YouTube Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. We're all over the place. Please join us there in the audioverse. So with that, that's some cheapness. Follow us, like us, smash it, share it, help us get in front of more people, because sharing is caring, and we need the money. Final thoughts, Howard Blues.
Boy, I've been waiting for final thoughts because, guys, I got a good one. And hey, if you thought that this episode was a bit too short, I know who you can blame for it being too short. Because you see, Kidder, I was sitting here getting stuff ready, getting the match card done, getting everything ready that we needed to do. So before I even sent out the meet invite to the local geek and yourself, and my phone goes bzzz. I pick it up. Somebody sent me a message on Facebook Messenger. I go to pull it up, entering in my code, and so that my phone opens. All I got was a little sneak preview of it. And it was from one, he was on last week, Big D, the troll minister of the Triple B, and it says, have nothing to do on this layover, so if you guys are firing up tonight, I might. Well, that's all I got. By the time I entered in my code and actually could look at the message had been unsent. That's right. The Big D invited himself on the show, and then before I could even do anything, uninvited himself from the show. And so if you're going, gosh, this show just, there wasn't enough stuff, you know who to blame, and that's Big D. Because he could have been on here, but he's not. And if you're disappointed by that, it's his fault. So that's right. We're assigning all of the blame for this show to Big D. and his legion of cookie gnomes. And that's my final thought.
Local Geek, final thoughts?
Don't have any final thoughts, but I do have one more joke for you. The pronghorn antelope
Final
is
thought.
the second fastest land animal in the world. Do you know why? Because the fastest is a cheetah.
And with that, it is time to flush this episode. For Howard Blues, for the Local Geek, the brewmaster of the Triple B himself, I'm the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Thanks for joining us for this and every other cringe-worthy episode. We appreciate you and your time. As for right now, there's free beer tomorrow. Keep your glass at least half full, and we will see you on down that paved with sorrow Tuscan highway. Have a good one. See you on the next episode of Beer, Blues, and BS.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
Good to see you. Hey, can I make your day better? Because I can do it. And I'm sad that I'm not going to record this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know if you saw the news of 2 hours ago.
That I sent you?
I don't know if you sent it to me.
You should open up Facebook and see if it's what I sent you.
If you're going to steal my thunder, Kidder, I'm not really going to be happy, man.
Okay. What is it, Howard?
Yeah, you did. Thanks,
This is the background I use at work.
Mm.
It's a picture I took at the airport in Bismarck at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Nice. Anyway, shall we get started?